Do you ever question the path that you're walking down, the way of life? I tend to do that frequently. One of the areas that I mainly do that in is a sports fan of the Seattle Seahawks. They create a lot of angst in my soul. This is not a good football team, but yet I cherish these people. I root for them. Another area that's kind of brought me angst lately in my life is just looking at my life versus the pages of Scripture and seeing these two stories. And sometimes I think my story doesn't completely match the pages of Scripture. So when I'm not numbing my life with sports, so I don't think about the angst in my soul, and there's moments when I'm picking up the pages of Scripture, I'm picking up a book kind of like this one called The Same Kind of Different as Me, I find myself confronted about the way I'm living my life. And that angst is brought forward. This book tells a story about two men that found God in an unlikely way, in a homeless man and an art dealer, and how they dealt with the angst in their souls. And they asked themselves a different question. They asked themselves, how can my life be different to be more like the pages of Scripture? I encourage you to pick up a copy of this book this holiday season. It's about $5 in most Christian stores, and give that a read and evaluate your life and see if the pages of Scripture in your life are close. Hey, this next week we get to do something really cool in church. It's called Eyewitness, where we get opportunity for people in the church to tell about what God is doing in their lives. And so to start that off, we have a testimony here from Dave Nicholson. And I know this segment is called The Weak Link, and I know that Dave probably a couple times in his life has been called The Weak Link. So ladies and gentlemen, Dave Nicholson.
Brock, I've been called the missing link, not the weak link. Get it straight. My name is David Nicholson, and I've been asked to give my perspective on giving to FBCA and Christian ministries in general. And one of the reasons why I give is it keeps my priorities straight, because within me lives a Scrooge. I mean, there really is. And this miser is scared and selfish and misguided into thinking that he is the one that owns these material possessions that God has given him. And rather than thinking that he is a steward of the possessions that God owns. And misguided into thinking that if he gives away his possessions according to God's will, that somehow God is not going to continue to meet his needs. And this miserly, tight-fisted attitude is totally contrary to the Christian principles of love and generosity and joy. And so by giving away to FBCA and certain ministries, I am starving that miser and showing faith that God is going to continue to provide for my needs. I also give out of obedience. God commands us to give so that the ministries of the church and His work can be completed. And I love our church. I love Chip and Julie and Nate and Brock and Angela and John and Tanya and Anthony and Jeff. And okay, Jeff and I sometimes, well, anyway, that's for another tape. I love our church and the ministries the way they are. And if we don't support them, it's possible that those ministries and positions could be diminished in some way. And I would never want to see that. I want to see our church grow and advance. Giving to FBCA allows me to participate in some of the joy of what's going on here and what God is doing. And quite honestly, it fills me with a great deal of love. So much love that I would like to kiss the camera right now, if that's okay. Can I do that? I can't do that. That didn't go over so well last time. Okay, well then that's all I have to say. See you this Sunday.